No, the more flounder, the more an idiot I look. I don't know which is.
Don't know. Well, I mean, there's plenty to choose from, but the famous, notable ones would be Edgar Wright, John Carpenter, and M. Night Shyamalan.
Really?
Yeah. He always pops up in his movies in some small role or other. There's some great black comedy in this, I thought. The over-the-top emotional exchanges. There was humour, even in the putrid goings-on. No matter the vileness that was on screen, there was wit involved in it. And none more so than the sequence in the park with the baby, where the mutant, infected baby, Lionel's struggling to control it, and so has to resort to violent measures while horrified mothers look on. I laughed out loud, Nathaniel.
No, I didn't really get that, Richard.
No?
If there was humour in this movie, I didn't pick up on it, or if it was there, it was in such minimal proportions that it was barely recognisable. As for the baby, no, I could just really have done without that little idiot in the movie. I mean, most babies are zombies anyway, so it was hardly anything startling. You know, these stunted little creatures that can't talk and all they want is your attention. I mean, you know, they're nothing more than zombies anyway.
Looked like Wayne Rooney though, didn't it, the baby?
It did a little actually, yeah.
Uncannily on occasion.
Yeah, I mean, he probably couldn't kick a football like him, but...
maybe not.
As far as appearance goes, yeah, I'll grant you that one.
Yeah. I felt this was a deliberate endurance test for the viewer. Jackson's trying to blunt the senses so that by the end, you know, you might actually get bored by the gore and the violence.
Yeah.
The deliberate act.
Yeah. But, no, I didn't really get that. For me, it was just almost art.
I love horror, Nathaniel. Love horror, and this is one of the best. It loses a mark for unnecessary blasphemy, so for me, this is a 9 out of 10.
This is crazy, creative, absolute madness on film. I'm going to match it, 8 out of 10.
You're not going to match me, because I said 9 out of 10.
Did you say 9?
I did say 9.
I beg your pardon in the extreme. I don't match you, 8 out of 10.
Good. Okay, folks, and in the new part of the show that we debuted last week, this is the part where we just discuss anything that takes our fancy. And this week, after watching such an excessive movie as Brain Dead, it got us thinking down here at Passive Aggressive HQ, what defines art? Any thoughts, Nathaniel?
Art? Yes. Well, basically I can sum it up in one sentence.
Go on.
I love it all. Any form of art will capture my imagination and my attention. Art is the thing that separates humanity from the beasts. It's creativity in its purest form. It's wonderful.
Is pornography art?
No, it isn't.
You sure?
I'm absolutely certain. You asked me the question, I'll give you the answer.
It's a visual performance captured on film.
It's not meant to be artistic though, Richard, is it? There's no actual art involved. It's a means to an end. It's a performance, yes, I'll grant you that. It is a performance. But after that, that's all it is. That's as nearest to the word art that you can get in that medium.
That's a good answer. Is Brain Dead art?
Yes. It is, clearly, because you can clearly see the creative spark at work. The people who created the gore that was on display are clearly not stunted people who don't have any ability to create. Far from that. They are the absolute epitome, I would suggest, of what it is to be artistic.
So even though it's vile and putrescent and disgusting and debauched and debasing to look at, that's still artistic? Absolutely.
I mean, those adjectives that you use there, that they're regular occurrences in the artistic world. If you look at, something, Picasso's work and Francis Bacon's work, they've certainly painted some debauchery in their time. And that's clearly recognised as wonderful art.
Is graffiti art?
Oh, that's a difficult one. That's tricky.
I thought I'd stump you with that one.
It is. That's a good question. I'd have to say technically yes, because you've got guys going out there, obviously with spray cans, and they're creating something that they're trying to communicate themselves in some way.
Yeah.
It may be illegal and against the law and abhorrent to other people, and rightly so. But does that mean it's not art? No.
See, as despicable as it looks, and as vile a pastime as it is,
yes,
I couldn't do it.
Exactly. Yes. You have to recognise that there's a creative spark behind what might very well just be vandalism.
Now that ties back to the first question: is pornography art?
Right.
Because I couldn't do what those guys do.
You could technically with practice.
No, I couldn't.
Of course you could.
No chance.
Richard, let me plant something in your subconscious here, especially in your current state. Picture yourself 6 weeks from now doing a Ron Jeremy.
I don't know what you mean.
In 6 weeks' time, that'll be you.
Ron Jeremy?
Ron Jeremy, yeah.
Is that meant to mean something to me?
Yes, it is. You don't know the man.
No?
He's a porn star of well renown who has a huge penis who pleasures women.
And for some reason you thought I'd know the name?
Well, you're a learned person. You know your movies. Maybe your movie knowledge cuts into the pornographic industry. Who knows?
Well, it doesn't.
Okay, well now you've learned something then.
Ron Jeremy, I'll remember the name.
Oh.
So if I type that into Google,
yes.
I'm going to find all manner of horrific things, am I?
If you want labelling horrific, yes.
Oh, well, I won't be doing it.
Okay. Anyway, you're asking me a lot of questions. What are your opinions on this?
Well, I struggle. I think for something to be considered art, it's got to make you think.
Right. I'd agree with that.
I mean, for example, is that shit that you do, the wailing and the banging the tambourine, is that art?
Yes, it is. Yes, very much so. Yes, it's a means of being creative and communicating ourselves in some way. So yes, by very definition, it's art. Yes.
But it doesn't make me think.
But it does.
So I don't think it's art.
No, it does make you think, because obviously clearly you're thinking, why is the fucking hell is that retard doing that?
Well, I mean, I think it's shit.
Well, you think it's shit. You've said it yourself. It makes you think.
But it doesn't make me think. No, it doesn't. That's an instinct.
I think it's shit.
No, that's an instinct.
What do you say? My instinct is it's shit. You said
my heart beats, my lungs expand and contract. They're just instincts. They just happen. And it's a similar kind of thing. When I see you on stage with your tambourine,
yes,
dancing around like you're in some kind of drug-induced fugue. So my instinct automatically is to think that's shit.
But get beyond
art.
Okay, get beyond your instincts, Richard. How can you still say that it's not art?
Because it's a bunch of cretins who've got absolutely no talent, banging their instruments and making a god awful din.
That's completely irrelevant. That doesn't mean it's not art. You're missing the point.
So explain it to me.
Well, you're just judging it. That's all you're doing. You're calling it on how you perceive it.
Yes.
It's fair enough because you're entitled to your opinion. If you want to call us a bunch of cretins banging and making a din, that's your opinion. That's valid. But it doesn't mean it's not art.
Damien Hirst chops a great white shark in half, pickles the one half in formaldehyde
yes.
in a big tank,
yes,
and puts that on display.
Yes.
That's not art.
Of course it is.
That's lunacy.
It's a means of expression, Richard.
What's he expressing?
I've no idea.
Well, neither have I.
But it's up to the perceiver to try and understand that if they want to.
Did it make you think?
Yes.
I mean, beyond what we've already discussed, the fact you just look at it and think that's shit.
Well, a very primal reaction to this kind of situation, I think, is entirely valid in to say that, why the fuck has he done that? Isn't that exactly the reaction that he wants to promote?
I'm gonna tell you a story now.
Okay.
A friend of mine had a girlfriend who was quite kind of a hippie, trippy sort. He wasn't with her for very long. It didn't suit.
Yes.
She was an artist. I'll say that in inverted commas.
Okay.
Now, one of her pieces, one of her installations, I think I like to call them, she took apart the engine of a Ford Fiesta.
Yeah.
Rendered it down to its component parts, its individual components.
Okay.
And then placed them in order of size.
Right.
That was her piece.
Was it?
Is that art?
I think we're pushing the boundaries there, Richard.
Oh.
I think that's testing the word art to its pure definition.
I'm bloody angry, Nathaniel, I'll be honest with you.
I am loath to call it art, but it's just not my place to say it isn't.
How can music, cinema, theatre, idiocy with a car engine, paintings, poetry, how can all of these things that seem so different, how can they all be classed as art? What is it that links them together?
Because they're manifestations of the creative spark. They're a means of communicating to other people.
So it's ideas.
It's ideas. It's ideas. It's concepts. It's thoughts made manifest.
Now, in my opinion, creativity is the bedfellow of the devil.
Might be why you're depressed.
It's dangerous. It's decadent. It breeds monsters from innocent souls, Nathaniel. It corrupts.
Are you telling me that you've never done anything creative, Richard?
I write. I do write. I sometimes get paid.
You've got your columns, exactly.
For writing columns.
Yeah.
But I try to ground them in reality. I don't use any florid language.
Yeah.
I don't try and show off with my writing.
Right.
To me, it's a simple journey from A to B.
Is that because it's sinful?
I wouldn't be comfortable being overly creative.
Have you ever never picked up a musical instrument, Richard? You never been tempted, no?
No. I try to listen to as little music as possible. I find it a very. I think it's damaging to society.
Well, it's just a suggestion. It's only that, but especially in your current state of mind, perhaps listen to a bit of melancholic music. Find people who are artists who are in a similar state to you. Listen to the lyrics and find some connections, some solace from that. Just a suggestion.
That sounds like the worst thing I could possibly do.
Does it?
It does, yes, it does. I think it would make me near suicidal.
Well, you don't have to do it.
Now, drugs, Nathaniel, drugs and art.
Yes.
They go hand in hand, don't they? Sin upon sin.
Yes, there is a definite connection there.
Why is that?
The Beatles, Richard. Have you heard of them?
I'm familiar with some of their works.
Right, yeah. Well, that they were marvellous exponents of music.
Mm-hmm.
And if I may be allowed to express my opinion on the Beatles, their musical genius came to the fore when they began to dabble with substance.